start with anion gap. All right. So anion gap is used. So anion gap जो है, we use it to as a way to evaluate metabolic acidosis. Okay. So if a patient in an ABG you see metabolic acidosis, then you should see for the anion gap also. All right. So this is for metabolic acidosis. To evaluate whether this metabolic acidosis is having high, is it high anion gap or is it normal anion gap? There is only two types of anion gap, high and normal. Okay. So what is anion gap? From the name only you come to know, okay, it is the excess of anions. Okay. So in a normal person, in a normal physiological person, there is no anion gap. Okay. So in normal situation, there is always a electrochemical balance. Okay. So what is the meaning of electrochemical balance? That all the negatively charged ions. So negatively charged ions need to be equal to positively. So negative are anions. Okay, and the positive are cations. So this has to be equal to each other. The total number of anions should be equal to cations in a normal person. That is electrochemical balance. So whatever we can measure. So whenever we do serum electrolytes or we do ABG, so there are certain ions which we are able to measure in the routine labs. Okay. So the negative mein, what do we have? We have chloride, we have bicarb, right? So these are the negative ones which we are able to measure. The positive ones that we are usually measuring is sodium. Correct. There are others also. Sodium is there, then potassium is there, magnesium is there. But most commonly what we look in the serum electrolytes is sodium, right? So they have to be equal to each other. But there are some unmeasured anions and there are something unmeasured cations. So unmeasured are the ones which we are not measuring on a routine basis. Okay. So these are also there. Matlab when we say negative should be equal to positive, so that means all the anions which are the measured and unmeasured and cations which are the measured and unmeasured. So the sum of this should be equal. That is when we say that the patient is having electrochemical balance. All right. So what is the normal anion gap? Okay. So the normal value for the anion gap, so normal AG, anion gap is 12 plus minus 4 milli equivalent per liter. So which means what, the range is from 8 to 16. Normally the anion gap is this much. Okay. So when we said that the equal, it should be equal, right? The positive should be equal to negative. So if I take positive sodium plus the unmeasured cations, they should be equal to what? The chloride plus bicarb. Plus the bicarb plus unmeasured anions. So if this equation should be equal, right? So if we will rearrange this equation, so what you will get? You will get unmeasured anions minus unmeasured cations will be equal to when you will rearrange this equation, what you will get is that the unmeasured. So if I put this on this side, so anions minus cations will come on this side, so it becomes minus. And if I take this on this side, so sodium minus chloride plus bicarb, correct? Sodium minus chloride plus bicarb is over here, and anions minus cations. So this is known as anion gap. And this is equal to this formula over here. So this is anion gap, and that is sodium minus positive charges minus all the negative charges will give you the anion gap. Okay. So now what are these unmeasured anions? Idhar tak it's clear or what, that positive charges should be equal to the negative charges, and then we rearrange every component of this equation, we come to this. And this is known as anion gap. Till here it's fine. Yeah. So now what are the unmeasured anions? Okay. So this short form is okay na, if I'm using. So yes, unmeasured anions are albumin, okay, some organic acids, So organic acids, then you have phosphate, you have if there's any sulfate. So these are all unmeasured. They are there, but these are very trace amounts. Albumin is measurable, right? And albumin is the biggest contributor of the anion gap. This is the most important contributor of anion gap. And it is the biggest quantity of all the unmeasured anions is actually albumin. So whenever we think about unmeasured anions, in your mind, you should think albumin. Okay. Then what are the cations? So you have calcium, you have magnesium, you have manganese. Okay. You have potassium. So these are all the unmeasured cations. Now we'll understand here what is the influence of albumin on this anion gap. All right. This list is okay now. I'm sorry I erased it.
Yes.
We'll understand what is the influence of albumin. So now we know that albumin is a very important unmeasured anion which is contributing in this anion gap. Okay. So albumin is again unmeasured anion. So which means what? It has got a negative charge. Correct. So it is a weak acid. Okay. This albumin is a weak acid and is a very important component of the unmeasured anions. So how much albumin? So 1 gram per deciliter of albumin will contribute to how many milliequivalents? 2.5 milliequivalent per liter. So this is important that we should remember. Okay, every gram of albumin in the blood that we measure, 1 gram, will contribute to 2.5 milliequivalent per liter of the charge. All right, that is contributed by the albumin. So now, whenever you see patients in ICU, they will not have normal albumin, right? 90% or more of ICU patients are having hypoalbuminemia. They are having some kind of protein loss. Okay. So when I am measuring the anion gap, the AG, which is what? Unmeasured anion minus unmeasured cation. So this gap will not be accurate if I don't consider this decrease in albumin. The fall in albumin which has occurred, which means what? I will expect this also to fall, right? So this value that I will get will not be correct if I don't take into consideration the fall in the albumin. So there is a corrected formula for albumin whenever there is hypoalbuminemia. Okay. So in hypoalbuminemia, so we have AGC. So AGC means what? Corrected anion gap. Okay. So you will measure the anion gap that you normally do. Sodium minus chloride plus bicarb. Okay. So positive minus all the negative. So that is done over here. So then you'll do plus. Now we know every 1 gram per deciliter is going to be contributing 2.5 milliequivalent, right? So plus 2.5 into, then you will do what is the normal albumin level of a person, 4.5 minus, then how much is the albumin in the blood? So now this is anion gap that we have measured. Then we will do this is the correction part of the hypoalbuminemia. If your protein levels are low, you have done LFT and albumin is low. So suppose your albumin is 2 or something, then it is low. So then you have to understand that you have to apply this formula when you find the albumin level has fallen. So 2.5 is the contributing for 1 gram of albumin contributes to 2.5 milliequivalent. So that, and then you see the difference of the albumin. Okay, this is a normal albumin and this is my measured albumin. So for example, okay, if in the ICU, you have got an anion gap, you have measured, okay, and you got the answer 10. You did sodium minus chloride plus bicarb and you got the answer 10. Then what you will do? You will do plus 2.5 as per formula. And suppose your readings, the blood report is telling you the albumin level is 2. So I will do 4.5 minus 2. And then I will solve this equation. Okay, so that will come to 10 plus what? 2.5 into 2.5, correct? So that will give me how much? It gives around 16. So this is how the anion gap is corrected now. This is the corrected anion gap. So you have to remember, if there is metabolic acidosis, I have to see the anion gap. The next step, okay. Then you will see, okay, anion gap I'm measuring. So how much is albumin? If albumin, so I will measure anion gap. I will look at albumin. If albumin is normal, then I will use only this formula, Ag. But if albumin is less, then I will use this formula and I will come to know how much is anion gap. What is normal anion gap? 12 plus minus 4. So this is 16. So this is within normal limit. 8 to 16 is normal limit, right? 12 minus 4 is 8. 12 plus 4 is 16. So this is within normal range. So this is normal anion gap, metabolic acidosis, this answer. Okay. If my answer was 20 over here or 25 or something, so it would be high, right? It is above the normal range. So it is high anion gap, metabolic acidosis, if that is the case. Okay. So now we have to understand which are the condition where you will have high anion gap. Metabolic acidosis will be seen in which condition? Okay. So it will occur when there is any collection of any organic acids, or there is some problem in the excretion. So there is a mnemonic. I don't know if you remember this. Is this mnemonic anything you remember? So whenever this mnemonic you see in the patient, so if there is a patient who is having carbon monoxide poisoning, cyanide poisoning, okay, if there's a patient who is alcoholic, okay, so if there is an alcoholic patient, or the patient is going into starvation ketoacidosis, so this you will come to know from the history of the patient, okay. From history you will in basic, the clinical findings of patient will give you an idea. If there is any of this is present, then you should suspect that there could be high anion gap. Okay. Then if the patient is having any toluene toxicity, okay, the patient is having methanol poisoning. So methanol is what, when that patient comes with this desi daru ka, when that thing happens, local alcohol, so that contains methanol, right? So methanol poisoning. Of the patient has had excessive metformin. Okay. If the uremia, then D is for diabetic ketoacidosis. P is for propylene. So propylene glycol toxicity, when paracetamol overdosing. Okay. Then if the patient is having any iron overload, isoniazid if he's taking. So isoniazid, okay, drug. Overdose of isoniazid. If the patient is having lactic acidosis, this we all know, lactic acidosis. Correct? As this perfusion, peripheral perfusion is affected, patient's lactate counts might increase. Okay. Then just like propylene glycol, even ethylene glycol accumulation and salicylates. So if there is presence of any of this from this mnemonic, you should suspect that yes, patient could be having high anion gap. All right. So metabolic acidosis is there, maybe high anion gap is there. Then you go and calculate and you find out if the high anion gap is there and how much significant it is. Okay. So this mnemonic is okay. Now, what is normal anion gap? Okay. So there is something known as normal anion gap. Metabolic acidosis. Metabolic acidosis is there. pH is less only, less than 7.35. And the anion gap is normal. Means what? It will be between the range to 8 to 12 milliequivalent only. It is not high. So when is this occurring? Now we know that anion gap is what? Sodium minus chloride plus bicarbonate. Okay. So what? This carbonic acid, right? So what happens is that there are times when the chloride is retained. Okay. So there is retention of chloride and bicarb is lost. So chlorides are retained, bicarb is lost. So what is happening? Ultimately, this sum total is the same. Okay. So whenever bicarb loss is occurring, there's a counter reaction and salt chlorides are retained. So in the following conditions, which we will discuss now. So because of that, the ultimate equation is not affected only. Is this understood? Why it is normal? Because when bicarb loss is compensated by chloride retention. Okay. So now we will see what are the what is the mnemonic for this and what are the examples. Okay. So there is one mnemonic CAGE. Okay. So in which there is chloride. There is one which is chloride. Excess will be there. Patient might be having Addison's disease. Okay. Or he may be taking acetazolamide. Okay. Then G is going to be GI losses. So GI losses means what? If there is any diarrhea, vomiting. Diarrhea, vomiting. Okay. And if there is any extra other causes. Okay. So that means renal tubular acidosis. So this is one mnemonic which you can follow. There is one more mnemonic which is ABCD. Okay. For the same. There is ABCD. Okay. So A is again Addison's disease. Okay. B is going to be bicarb related. Okay. Means what? There is going to be some bicarb loss, which I told you. That is why it is anion gap, right? So bicarb loss is happening either in the GI related process or kidney. May say there are losses of bicarb occurring. Okay. So you will find that bicarb levels are low in this. Okay. Then C is going to be chloride excess, as I told you. Okay. Bicarb loss is compensated with chloride excess. That is why the gap is normal. Okay. And D is going to be the patient is receiving any diuretics. Okay, so diuretics, as we saw in the previous mnemonic, acetazolamide. So I think this mnemonic might be a little easy to remember. Okay, because we have understood the concept of normal, right? Why is it normal? Because chloride, the bicarb losses, be it GIT, renal losses, are compensated by chloride retention. Okay, so if you're finding chloride excess, that means this is normal anion gap. GI renal losses. Okay, so renal tubular acidosis came, you have vomiting, you have diarrhea. That is a place where the bicarbs are going to be lost. So is this understood? Then we'll see one example. Yahan pe the explanation of anion gap is done. So we'll see one example.
Yes.
Okay. So in this example, pH is 7.1. Okay. And the patient's bicarb is 8. The PaCO2 is 20. I'm not putting the units. Huh? The sodium is 140. Chloride is 106. And ketones is 3+. Okay. So there is a patient who's poorly controlled insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus and he has missed his insulin 3 days he has not taken. Okay. So now we already know that this is what? It's metabolic acidosis, right? Both are going in same direction. pH is also going down. PaCO2 is also going down, right? So this is now going in same direction. It is metabolic and plus pH is less, so it is acidosis. So directly let's go towards anion gap calculating. Okay, so how much is the anion gap? What will be the formula over here? What I will do? We know it is sodium minus chloride plus bicarb. So sodium is how much? 140. Chloride and bicarb total is what? 106 plus how much is bicarb? 8. Correct? So this is how much? 140 minus 106 plus 114. So what is the answer of this?
26, no?
Correct. This answer is 26. Normal value is 8 to 12. Correct. So now this is what? High anion gap.
High anion gap.
This is high anion gap, metabolic acidosis. Most probably the cause of the anion gap is ketoacidosis. That cat mud pulse mnemonic which is there. So ketones are responsible for this high anion gap. Okay. Now suppose if in this we had albumin value, and if that albumin was less, then we would do correction. Correct. If he was having some protein loss. So this is it. There is nothing else in this anion gap. Anion gap is over.